extra stuff.
Hi, I would like to call to order the 29th session of the Pontiac Charter Revision Commission on February 1st. Roll call.
Commissioner Burrows,
Here.
Garrett, Killian,
Present.
Payne,
Present.
Ramsey,
Here.
Stewart, Turpin,
Here.
Williams,
Present.
Ibarra. Madam Chair, you have a quorum.
Thank you. Is there a motion to authorize, to excuse Commissioners Garrett, Stewart, and Ibarra?
Moved.
It's been moved by Williams and supported by Turpin. Roll call.
Commissioner Killian,
Yes.
Payne,
Yes.
Ramsey,
Yes.
Turpin,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Burrows.
Yes.
6 yeas.
Thank you. Are there any amendments to the current agenda?
Yes, if the mayor is here, Madam Chairwoman, I would ask that we move that item above item number 7.
Okay. Oh, he asked for it to be pushed back. Is it possible for us to go with the review of the attorney, and when the mayor is done, do a point of privilege and get him in?
Okay, that sounds
Okay.
good. I just didn't want him waiting after, because I
Yes,
don't
because
know how
that
long.
looks like a lot. Mm-hmm.
So I make a motion to approve the agenda as is.
Is there support?
Support.
It's been moved by Williams and supported by Killian to approve the agenda as is. Roll call.
Commissioner Killian,
Yes.
Payne,
Yes.
Ramsey,
Yes.
Turpin,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Burrows.
Yes.
6 yeas.
Yay. Approval of the minutes for January 20th, 2024, and January 25th, 2024. Is there a move?
I'll move it.
It's been moved by Turpin. Is there a support?
Support.
It's been supported by Payne. Roll call?
Commissioner Payne,
Yes.
Ramsey,
Yes.
Turpin,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Burrows,
Yes.
Killian.
Yes.
6 yeas.
Thank you. Public comment, Madam Clerk.
None.
All right, we will go into review of comments from our attorney of the charter that we submitted. I was told that we left off on 105? 3.105. So we are on 3.105, which is on page 4, the bottom of page 4 of 48. And just a reminder that this is the charter and revisions that we have made. Some of the comments are asking for clarity, asking if this is what the intent was. And so as long as it doesn't say something like conflicts with the state law, is conflicts with the Constitution, I'm gonna ask that we keep the debate down to a minimum because we literally made the decisions to add these and change these already. So we will start with 3.105. The comment is 10-hour notice does not comply with the Open Meetings Act. I changed that to 18. 18 hours, okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Yep, the 10 is struck and through, and the 18 is there.
So that was changed, and the next comment was normally special meetings limited to purpose declared on notice, avoid surprise to public and council. The way that I'm reading it, the mayor and 2 members of the council shall call special meetings of the council provided it is requested in writing and written notice is posted in accordance with the Michigan Opens Meeting Act. It doesn't give what would be on the agenda.
Yeah, but I think the second page clarifies it, because you can't post a special meeting without notice anyway. You can't post any meetings without it being to the Open Meetings Act. So you have to state the purpose of the meeting and what's voted on. So I don't know where the attorney was coming up with that at, but it also says in that last section, however, any special meetings at which all members of the city, of the council are present or have given written consent shall be a legal meeting for all purposes without such written notice. So I think that's maybe where he's talking about, is without such written notice.
Okay.
But that talks to the timeliness of calling it. So just for point of clarification, when I was on city council and they wanted to and the mayor wanted to call a special meeting, they would have to deliver that packet to my house. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that was the written notice they were talking about. I don't think it was speaking to the actual notice that goes on the door at the clerk's office or in front of the building or on the website. So I think that's probably where he may be confused just by reading the charter and not looking at what the practice is.
So is this something that he is coming before us next Thursday? Next Thursday, is this something that we want to have where we can comment and ask him specifically what he was looking for?
I think so, but yes.
Any other discussion? 3.105. All right, we will move to 3.111. I don't, we still have questions for the attorney. It says, is heightened vote requirement desired? The council shall appoint a city clerk for an indefinite period upon a satisfactory evaluation. The clerk shall continue its appointment with a yearly evaluation. The clerk is removable by 5 members of the council or council president and 3 members of the council. Do we desire to have it where it has a heightened level of voting needed? I think that was what the desire was.
Right.
Is there any discussion?
I think, go ahead, Ms. Payne. I think we should, because it says, or council president and 3 members of the council, it may need to say council president and 3 additional members. Because the way it reads, it could be the council president, which is a member of the council,
Right.
and 2 others. So that would be my thing. But yeah, I know we wanted the supermajority, and that's why we said 5 with removals, because that was what was in the old language.
Thank you. Payne? All right. So right now, it reads, the council shall appoint a city clerk for an indefinite period upon a satisfactory evaluation. The clerk shall continue its appointment with the yearly evaluation. The clerk is removable by 5 members of the council or council president and 3 members of council. Commissioner Williams has asked that we add, the clerk is removable by 5 members of the council or council president and 3 additional members of council. Commissioner Payne would like to strike that. So I think we need to do one by one. So since Commissioner Kermit said his first, does anybody have any problems with the language of adding additional?
So I'll move it.
Point of clarification.
Yes.
And it's based upon, I thought we had discussed as far as the time limit on the clerk once. I could be wrong, and then when we say an indefinite period. So, I mean, did we do this, discuss that we wanted a time period on the clerk?
We did, and there was some back and forth, so that's why we had with the yearly evaluation. So every year, this person has to be evaluated, and then if the council says this isn't working, then that is the time that they would find somebody else.
Okay, so upon that year, that's when this triggers this vote of what we're discussing, kind of, the first part.
Well,
The 5 or 7.
Through the chair, they're already there, the clerk is already there. If they get a satisfactory or everybody's happy with the job of the clerk, then there's no reason for a council vote. But if they see the evaluation and the evaluation is unsatisfactory, then if they get 5 members to vote for it, or the council president and 3 other members to vote for it, because the council president is directly the boss of the clerk's office. The supervisor, let me not use the boss language, but supervisor.
Now, with that said, you said that lowers it down to 4.
Yeah, but it's the council president and 3 others.
3 others.
Right. I get that, but
Yeah.
instead of the 5 out of 7, it lowers it to just 4 people as long as the council president.
Yes.
Okay.
So it's been moved by Williams and and supported by Payne. Discussion, Turpin?
I don't understand the need for a distinction.
But
votes.
where was this conversation when we did this the first time?
It was a month ago. We spent about 45 minutes coming up with this language. This is the language of the
I
compromise.
still don't understand it.
So it's saying that if the clerk, let's say that the clerk in front of us is the full-time clerk, every year she would get a yearly evaluation. If she does good, that's good. If she doesn't, it's gonna take 5 members of the council or 3 members plus the council president.
That's what I don't understand, the or.
So let's say, how many people is it?
So in other words, you're giving the president priority in terms of this determining the outcome of this
Yes.
evaluation. I don't understand that.
I'm gonna suggest you go watch the tape, because I can't remember exactly what happened.
The tape hasn't got anything to do.
Okay, Commissioner
What it is-
Williams
what it is,
can help
it's
you.
assessing more power to the president in terms of the determination of what happens with this clerk.
Exactly.
And
So,
I'm not exactly sure why that's necessary.
so regardless if you agree with why it's necessary or not, the discussion that we voted on as a body was to give the council president this extra vote in this case because they're the direct supervisor of the clerk's office. At the end of the day, the clerk, the council president and the clerk have the most interactions with each other. 5 members of the council, even if it wasn't the council president or the pro tem, have the ability to vote as a body to vote the clerk out. But it makes sense for the president, who's been interacting with the clerk's office the most, to be able to get 3 other colleagues, not a supermajority, to remove that clerk for that evaluation. And that's what we voted on as a body. So the only thing that we're discussing today is, should it say additional members in my motion or not? We've already agreed with this as being the structure as a body. So that's already been hashed out. So what we're going through right now is we're going through the attorney's comments to add clarification to them, not to relitigate everything that's in the charter.
So by definition, a member of the council who has been elevated to the position of president cannot simply be considered a member, so that the 5 members would not include a city council president, right?
It could,
It could.
right, but it's the
So that's-
threshold, so it has to be 5.
Okay.
Which could be, but there may be cases where there's 3 council people that have no dealings with the clerk's office.
I see what you're saying. You're saying that the president, in all likelihood, would have more interaction with this person than others. And therefore, if that person seemed fit and he got 3 people to go with him, he could get rid of the because he wanted to.
Yes, Dr. Turpin.
All right, there's a move and some, me either. So y'all get ready to call me all the names that y'all gonna need to call me. There's been a move and support.
I call for the vote.
All right, roll call.
Commissioner Ramsey,
Yes.
Stewart,
Yes.
Turpin,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Yes.
No.
6 yeas, 1 nay.
Thank you. We are moving to 3.112. B, as in boy. The comment is publication of ordinance, not in newspaper. State law requires it to be in newspaper. It conflicts with the state law. So it reads, upon introduction, the clerk shall distribute a copy to each council member and to the mayor, and shall file a reasonable number of copies. So we need to add in the newspaper here somewhere.
And it also conflicts with age, is what he said.
Second sentence, published by.
Oh, hold on. I'm sorry, Scott. Stuart, what did you say again?
In the comment as well, it also says that it does conflict with H in this section as well,
H. Okay.
and MCL 117.5B, which I don't know what that says. But H says, an ordinance shall be published once after its adoption in a newspaper of general circulation in the city as provided by this charter. except for an emergency ordinance, such publication shall be before the ordinance's effective date. The clerk shall certify on the record of ordinances the date and method of publication. So I think it's more just noting that we need to, maybe it's a combination almost of these areas. But I'm curious, and so I think the requirement is that it needs to be public. It must be the requirement, and clerk, I don't know, you might know this too. It might be required to actually put it in a newspaper. That
It
may be
is.
the thing. Okay,
It
so
is.
that's, I
It
think,
has
the
to be
thing.
published in a newspaper.
So I think if we combine these in some way, that might be the best option.
Okay, so
Because
we're
we're
gonna
saying that we're gonna, I think he's just saying that we didn't put the newspaper side in here.
So do we need to combine B and H, so then we remove one, or do we need to make sure the language is the same in B and H?
I think language is the same, it's
Okay.
fine. Because I think we're talking about in each section, the B is talking about upon introduction of it, and then H is after adoption.
Okay.
Does everyone else read that the same way?
Okay, so we're gonna have to revisit this, because we have to reword B and H to add newspaper. Yes, Turpin,
So this MCL is a Michigan,
Michigan common law.
Michigan law.
and so the Michigan law apparently is somewhat antiquated in the sense that
Possibly.
a lot of people don't look at the newspaper anymore anyway.
Agreed.
They get their news
Yeah.
from other places.
But it's the law, so that's what we gonna say. Unless you wanna run for state rep and change it.
No, thank you.
Oh, okay. All right, so then we're going to move on to E as in Edward. And the comment is legalese.
I think we're good there. I think this was a just quick change that he must have added.
Okay. Is there a motion to adopt E? I will read it as written. The effective date of an ordinance shall be stated. The effective date shall not be less than 10 business days from the date of publication. No ordinance except an emergency ordinance shall be adopted on the same day as it is introduced. Is there a move to adopt?
Support.
It's been moved by Williams and supported by Stewart. Roll call.
Commissioner Stewart?
Yes.
Turpin?
Yes.
Williams? Yes. Burrows?
Yes.
Killian?
Yes.
Payne?
Yes.
Ramsey?
Yes.
7 yeas.
I just, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Avoid those ones because there's quite a few.
F, not publication, does effective prior to publishing violate Constitution? Anybody got any comments about that?
I think we should wait for Mr. Chris on this.
Yeah.
Okay,
I think we can, what I'll probably do is look at these laws and get us language too about what it says, so we can also have a better sense, but we can wait for Mr. Chris too.
okay. I'm just gonna keep track of what we need to talk to him about. So right now, that is 3105. And, hold on, let me write this down. 3.105, and then it is 3.112F. 3.112F. All right, G, why not provide mayor with all council action items? Every ordinance or resolution of the council except quasi-judicial acts of the council, appointments by the council, matters relating to the internal organization of the council, or a ceremony, or of a ceremonial nature, or such action as may be expressly exempted from veto by other sections of this charter, shall be presented by the clerk to the mayor within 4 business days after adjournment of the meeting at which the ordinance or resolution is adopted. And the question was, why not provide mayor with all council action items? So why are we specifically saying except quasi judicial acts of the council? Any discussion? Turpin?
I have no idea why that is.
I'm not quite sure what quasi judicial is referring to. Williams isn't here.
Did he say this? Did he do this?
I don't know. This might have been in the language before. That's what I'm
Okay.
thinking. And I can imagine why it was in the language before
Yeah.
around some of these, particularly I think internal organization of the council. Like there are probably things that they're like, you don't need to know everything. That's I think that separation
I was gonna
piece.
say that quasi means as far as their actions is to be kept within.
Right.
So how they come to some points doesn't have to be expressed totally to the mayor. But is that necessary or not when you're trying to, as far as get an ordinance done, is the question.
So I feel comfortable with keeping it in. Is there anyone who doesn't feel comfortable and wants to remove it? All right, is there a motion to approve G as in George as read by Commissioner Ramsey?
I move.
Support.
It's been moved by Stewart and supported by Killian. Roll call.
Commissioner Turpin,
Yes.
Williams, Burrows,
Yes.
Killian,
Yes.
Payne, Ramsey,
Yes.
Stewart.
Yes.
That's 6 yeas.
All right. Point of privilege. Well, we decided that when the mayor came, we would interrupt the meeting, because we could be going up through these edits for a minute. Okay, so a point of privilege, is it on? It's telling me to go home. It's telling me, is that what it's saying? That's what it sounds like. Point of privilege. If we could, is there a motion to suspend our current review of comments and move to the mayor's comments?
So moved.
It's been moved by Stewart and supported by Payne. Can I do that? Okay, well, we're gonna do that. Roll call.
Williams, Burrows,
Yes.
Should have heard me on Saturday.
Killian,
Yes.
Payne, Ramsey,
Yes.
Stewart,
Yes.
Turpin.
Yes.
6 yeas.
Thank you. Mayor, we call you to the podium.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Thanks so much for the opportunity to be with you tonight. I'm sorry that I'm late to the meeting. I did check in with the chairwoman before delaying my arrival, but it's been one of those days, and I was just trying to catch up on a few things before joining you. I think I've reviewed all of the changes that you've put together thus far. I may have missed some things, and I've got a couple questions about that. I'll start actually with one of those questions, which is, I saw a reference to I think the title is Public Integrity Office, but I don't think I've seen the language about how that individual is selected to fill that position or what their duties are. I may have missed that in some of the materials that were provided to me by the clerk's office or by the chairwoman, but at least I have not actually read, because I don't think I've seen that particular language. So that's just an FYI. I'd love to take a look at that and review that language thoroughly. I did see in the summary of the 2023 charter amendments a reference to the position, but I didn't see a separate section talking about the position or how it's filled and exactly how it operates and that sort of thing.
We do. Do you
Go ahead.
We do have it worked in there now. We'll make sure you get the
Okay,
language.
yeah, that sounds great. And so I can't comment on that yet, obviously, because I haven't seen it. A few other items, well, more than a few. So I'll start with a couple of things that I also didn't see, but that might be, although I've mentioned in the past, it might be because I missed it, or it might be because you chose not to make any changes in these regards, but I'll run through a couple of those. In terms of the initiative and referendum language, we talked about increasing the threshold of signatures, either by referencing a higher turnout election or increasing the percentage of those who voted who need to sign. My concern has been, and this really has been prompted by some of the marijuana initiatives and referenda that we've seen, where, you know, a couple of special interest marijuana companies have been able to very easily force referenda on things that the city council has approved.
I'm sorry, can you give me the section number, please?
Well, it's in chapter 4, but it's section 6.402, section 6.403, section 6.404.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So those are the sections that entail how many signatures are required in order to put a referendum or an initiated ordinance on the ballot. And at least in recent years, we haven't seen true grassroots organizations do that. We've seen marijuana companies do that. And so it concerns me that they've been able to so easily do that, even if it's just one disgruntled marijuana company, as is in the case with the referendum that's coming up on February 27th, when that was overwhelmingly passed by council. It was not a grassroots effort by residents, and it wasn't even most of the marijuana companies. It was really just one marijuana company driving that. So that's one item. The other item that I've mentioned.
I'm sorry if I could stop you.
Yeah, please.
So that if any of the commissioners have questions, Williams.
Yes, so what is your recommendation, Mayor Grimer?
I would do two things, actually. I would reference it as a percentage of those who cast ballots in the most recent presidential election, so that it's a higher turnout election that's referenced, as opposed to how I believe it currently reads, it's the last election, which can be a very low turnout election.
It just says the proceedings of the city general election.
Good point. So that could mean just the regular mayoral and city council election, which is much lower turnout, for example, than the presidential election. And I might even raise the percentage a little bit at least. What is the current percentage?
At least 5, but no less than 15%.
Yeah, I'd be inclined to reference the last presidential election and to make it 10 to 15%, at least 10% and no more than 15%. And I say that in part because, unfortunately, even our presidential elections have relatively low turnout compared to most communities.
Thank you. Any other questions? All right. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. I had mentioned this last time, but I think if we have any hope of being able to bring back in-house our own fire department, we would really need to eliminate the minimum manning requirement. So
What
that
section is that? I'm sorry.
No,
I'm
no
just
problem.
trying to
That's
think.
section 4.501.
Okay, thank you.
And so it would be my recommendation that that be eliminated so that we have more flexibility around staffing. Because obviously one key question will be affordability of bringing back our own fire department. And the minimum staffing, I think, can end up being fairly restrictive in terms of it can in some cases lead to overstaffing or inflexible staffing, and that can affect the affordability of bringing back in-house our own fire department.
Thank you. It is So 4.501 says fire department. The city shall provide for fire protection services for its residents. A fire department may be created in the executive branch of city government. If the fire department is created, the fire chief shall be the director of the department and serves under the supervision of the mayor. The city may contract for fire protection services with appropriate fire protection service agencies as provided by law.
Yeah, I'm saying, we don't have minimum manning in that
Okay,
section.
no.
Is what I'm
Okay.
asking.
Wait,
Am I mistaken that minimum manning is in the charter?
It's in our charter now because the people voted on that.
Right.
Mr. Bramall, but I'm saying
the
our new
update.
charter,
Yeah.
in our
Oh,
new
you're
charter.
proposing to eliminate that language already?
I believe so.
Let me take you what we have.
Yeah, I'm sorry for my confusion.
Yeah. Yeah, we did.
We adopted as a baseline the charter from the last charter that didn't get passed. And so this is where we are. And so there's no section on minimum manning in this one.
Got
So
it.
I don't know if you've got a copy of that because you're probably working off the 82 charter. and
No, I
trying to
thought
make
I sent it to his staff, the updated one.
But I know he knows the 82 charter back and
Yes,
forth.
yeah,
by
exactly.
head.
So forgive me. You're right that you did send me the updated charter, which also explains a question I've had, but it hasn't really prompted me to ask you. But that explains why the red lines
Yes.
are your changes to the last charter commission's proposed
Yes.
changes.
Yes.
Got it.
Yes.
Because I noticed that even the letters in black and not red were different from, in some cases, different from the current charter, but that's why. Okay.
Yes.
Okay,
So
I'm-
it sounds
I'm
like.
gonna leave this down here with you.
Okay,
And then as you
thank you.
go through, then maybe it can help you with the language.
I appreciate that, thank you. One moment, thanks for your patience.
Oh, no problem.
All right, so it sounds like that's already been addressed, so again, forgive me for bringing up that red herring. There was, let's see, those were the only two things that I didn't see referenced. In terms of things that I have seen referenced, a couple of thoughts. Some of this I've shared in the past, some I haven't. As I've shared before, my own personal preference, if we're going to have at-large council members, my own personal preference would be to have 2 at-large and 5 by district.
Wait, what section is this? I'm gonna keep asking.
Well, it's in a couple of sections, but 2.101 is sort of the baseline section, and then it's
Okay.
referenced later in 2.106.
Yeah.
I think it's also referenced actually in 3.102. So I think, I don't know how council feels, and they obviously are the more important folks to consult with about this, but my sense would be either keep it all by districts or have 2 at-large instead of just 1 at-large, so that there's not just one council member who can sort of claim the authority of representing all of the city, because it could become very difficult for other council members to say, well, I disagree with that council member when, well, I'm the only one who was elected by everybody. And so that would be my concern, as opposed to having 2 people who bring some diversity of opinion while representing all of the residents of the city.
Thank you. Any comments or questions about that?
I think we talked through that and we ended up with 6, so maybe, I don't know how we go back or have that discussion, so I don't know.
I guess we can table that and have the discussion. Can we, for the record, talk about why we landed on 6-1 and not 5-2?
Well, we started off talking about 5-2, which was the original proposal. The original proposal that I made when the charter first started was that we were gonna have 2 full-time council people, and they were gonna be at large, and then we would have 5 district people. And then there was concerns raised by my colleagues on the Charter Commission about costs that would have if we ended up with 2 full-time people. And so that's how we ended up landing on 6 districts and 1 at large that would be full-time versus having 2. That's the history of it. I'm not saying that that's something that I'm married to. It's just what we ended up voting on and coming up with.
Well, and I would, if I may, Madam
Please
Chair.
go ahead.
I would mention that I understood that logic when the plan was to have the one at-large automatically be council president. But I think, again, I may be wrong about this, but I think you've now decided that the council president will be elected by the other members of council, such that that position, the council president position, won't necessarily be the at-large position any longer?
Williams.
Yes, and that is the correct understanding. So the proposal was for the council president to be that, but the members of the commission voted that they thought that the council itself needed to be able to pick its leadership in order to make sure that the council president was respected by them and not by just being a popular vote of the people.
Yeah, which makes sense to me. I think I may have mentioned that a couple months ago when I was here.
so
But
you
in
kinda
light of
messed up
that, it
the-
seems like we could then have two at-large without having the original concern with that.
I do feel those comments. I have talked to some city council members who already are saying that we're trying to get rid of 2 district seats and yada, yada, yada. So I feel like this probably is a good compromise at the moment.
Got it. So they
that-
don't want any at-large, it sounds
There
like
are
maybe.
some that don't want at-large, so
got it.
I'm just being cautious on that
No,
side.
that's fair. That's very, very fair.
Because I was like, no, we're not removing 2, we're making 1 at-large.
Right.
And they were like, still kind of bitter about it, so.
Well, and some of that may hinge too on, well, do all 7 want to run again?
Correct.
I don't know the answer to that, but anyway,
So,
I get it.
exactly, I was like, I think it's just better to
So,
maybe keep that.
Madam President,
Yes, Turpin.
the whole notion of at-large representation is to add representation for the individual voter. So like, people complaining about, why I get rid of my district. Well, actually, you still are in a district, and you also have 2 at-large people. So you have 3 people that you can petition to vote for you. And so the notion is that it gives the population more access to the voting members of its council. And so that's why we had 2 at large, and then the rest, the city divided into districts.
Well, and I would, I'm sorry, forgive me,
No,
Madam Chair.
we very informal
Okay.
over here.
I would mention to Commissioner Stewart's point that obviously any existing council person can run in an at-large seat, so it's not like the total number of council members is being reduced.
Oh, Killian?
When you were considering the 2 at-large, was you considering full-time pay for those 2 positions? Or you had a different pay structure,
Yeah.
but 2 at-large?
Yeah, not necessarily full-time pay, just as, I think the way you're proposing this, the council president would have full-time pay, but he wouldn't necessarily be one of the at-large. So to my mind, the 2 are separate issues. There's the question of how many would be elected at-large, and then separately, who would be chosen by their colleagues to be the council president with the additional pay for that position. I actually thought and this is maybe unusual to have a mayor advocate for more council power, but I actually liked what you did with the election commission, having representatives from city council on that. I think it's important for that not to be the executive branch's show, and I think we've seen some challenges with that in the past, for example. So I think having 2 residents appointed by city council on the election commission makes a lot of sense. I also thought it was fine to have a non-attorney appointed by the mayor on the commission rather than an attorney. The only thing I thought should be made a little more clear, and you hint at it a little bit, but I think the city attorney should be really required to advise the election commission. That obviously doesn't mean the election commission has to agree with the city attorney, and it doesn't mean the city commission couldn't get advice from other attorneys. But I think having the city attorney provide advice to the election commission is going to be important, because the election commission ultimately should be following the law, and to do that, they need to interpret the law. And I absolutely wouldn't say they have to agree with the city attorney or follow the city attorney's advice, but I think requiring the city attorney to provide that, it probably makes sense. And the only suggestion I have in that regard is, and this is in section 2.105, by the way, forgive me, Madam Chair. There's a sentence that says, "The commission has general supervision of all elections in the city and may hire assistants, inspectors, and other election personnel." And then rather than say, "and be consulted by attorney or firm," I said, "and be advised by city attorney." Although, now that I'm thinking about it, maybe we want it a little bit broader, like they must be advised by the city attorney and may hire an additional attorney or firm or something like that. So that it's not limited just to the city attorney if they have concerns about the integrity of the city attorney.
Williams?
Yeah, so can you give us that language as it would read, so we can?
Yeah,
Because we're kind of at crunch time, Mayor Grimal.
I understand. So you need specifics. I got it. No, that's fair.
And I mean, if you can't do it today, if you could provide it to the clerk?
Let's do it right now.
Okay.
I can do it quickly. So what it already reads is the commission has general supervision of all elections in the city. And then at that point I would say, comma, will be advised by the city attorney, comma, well, yeah, it shall be, I think, because I think we want to require the city attorney to provide advice, but then after that say, and may hire assistants, inspectors, and other election personnel, and an independent attorney or law firm. Should I say that more slowly, or?
Yes, can you read it from,
You got it?
I got
Okay,
it.
all right.
I was like, I know it's hard when you don't have it all there yet.
okay, go ahead, Stuart.
So the commission has general supervision of all elections in the city, comma, shall be advised by the city attorney, and may hire assistants, inspectors, and other election personnel, and an independent attorney or law firm.
That's exactly what I said. Yeah. You really missed your calling as a stenographer.
I really do, yeah, that's true. Sheila feels that way all the time. She's like, can you send that to me? Yeah.
Okay, so.
I got a computer.
Do we want to vote on 2.105 as updated? Okay.
Yeah,
I'll make a motion.
I'll support.
So there's a move by Williams, support by Stewart to adopt 2.105 as read by Commissioner Stewart. Roll call.
Commissioner Burrows,
Yes.
Killian,
Yes,
Payne,
Yes.
Ramsey,
Yes.
Stewart,
Yes.
Turpin, Williams.
Yes.
7 yeas.
Great.
Thank you.
Yeah, section 3.110, which is compensation. And I think I expressed this before. I definitely think the city council president should get paid substantially more than the other council members. And I think there should be a reference to that in the charter while ultimately allowing the decision to be made by the local officers compensation commission. However, I do get nervous, as I've expressed before, with the language of will be full-time, because I get concerned that that could limit the ability of someone to serve if they have another full-time, part-time job. If I'm Kermit Williams, I'll name someone who has been council president, and I'm working for Oakland Forward, or I have some other job that I love and that is going well for me and I think has career potential. I would hate for that person to not be able to serve as council president because their existing job says, well, you can't do that and this because that's a full-time job. And so I get nervous about putting a person in a position where it becomes either or. Either I'm council president or I continue with my career.
Williams.
Mayor Grimal, on a given day, how many events do you attend between 9 and 5?
Events outside of City Hall?
Yeah, or meetings inside of City Hall that you attend between 9 and 5?
Well, a lot, obviously. But in terms of events outside of City Hall during those hours, not very many. I attend a lot of events, but they're mostly on weekends or after 5 p.m.
Okay.
And I think, the real question is, how many meetings does the city council president either attend or want to attend during those hours? I mean, keep in mind that the mayor supervises a lot of staff in the executive office. The city council president supervises some staff as well, but not nearly as many staff and not nearly as many day-to-day functions.
Okay. And so if a resident wanted to call a city council person and they had a full-time job, let's say at a hospital, that was from 9 to 5, what would be the response to the resident?
Well, I think it depends on the employer in terms of that. But I think we're gonna continue to have all 7, well, maybe not the council president, but the other 6 council members are going to have that very same dynamic in terms of constituents calling them, because that's gonna be equally true, well, almost equally true, I think, for every city council person, because a resident's first instinct is not to call the council president, but to call their specific council person. And especially with the at-large council person not being the council president, it's not clear to me that the other council people will have any less or more phone calls than the council president will from residents.
So it's a question about responsiveness, and the reason I say that is because our council for the last at least 15 to 16 years has trended to have more retirees on it because of that piece where they have flexibility during the day and other things. And so I think on our council now, we probably have at least 2 retirees or people that are able to be flexible in their career. The reason that I think that a full-time person that will be responsible, especially for being in the office or being available, that could help, and hopefully the council president will be the at-large member. We don't speak to that being designated, but that could potentially actually happen.
Of course.
And that would be the best-case scenario in my viewpoint. But I think the other positions on the council, as long with the pro tem, doesn't have that requirement of being full-time or letting your job go. So you just couldn't hold the seat of council president if that's to the point that you're worried about somebody being able to focus on their career and able to do that. So I just wanted to kind of clarify, it's not a loss in that portion, but I think it also gives us a different variety of people that may normally run for that post and give some extra incentive.
Yeah, I don't know the full history, but I know that when you were council president, at least for much of your time as council president, you had a full-time job. Our current council president has a full-time job. And so, and of course, right now, 5 of our 7 council members have full-time jobs. And, I think looking back, when Lee Jones was council president, he had a full-time job. When Art McClellan was council president, he had a full-time job. So certainly, if the goal is to make it easier for people with full-time jobs to be council president, we haven't had a shortage of people with full-time jobs serving as council president. And my fear is that a Lee Jones, who's worked at the UAW for 25 years, well then, I guess he can't be council president, because the UAW is not gonna let him have another full-time job and allow him to continue working at UAW. Or Art McClellan, who has a very successful career, what, he's just disqualified from being council president? I think it's really unfair, and you end up boxing out talented people whose colleagues might want them to serve as council president, but they're not in a position to sacrifice their career to do that. And so I think you're gonna end up, in many situations, forcing the selection of a less talented or dedicated person to be council president, because while they might be the best selection, they have a career that they don't want to be forced to give up.
I appreciate that. I would just like to push back. I have lived on the east side, the north side, and the west side, and every single time my council person had a full-time job, and I called Kermit Williams, no matter what side of town I lived on, because he was going to be responsive. Now, he did have a full-time job. I don't know how he was responsive. But when you have people who are teachers and who are doctors, and I have an issue that a water main break has happened on my street, and there's no staff, and the only council person I can get to is not in my district. I think our thought with this was to give people more support than that one council person, because once again, Brett Nicholson has a full-time job and runs a business. So he might not can be available, but the full-time council person is, the at-large council person is. So I think that is what we're trying to address here. It might not look like this, but that's what we're trying to address. And I am willing to die on this hill that we do have a full-time person. I think it is the president, because if I am running and I know this is what the qualifications are, I can decide at that time not to.
Well, I understand that concern. I guess what I would say is some of this is going to hinge on the residents' relationship with whoever they're calling, and obviously it's going to hinge even more so, I think, on just the nature of that council person. How responsive are they, whether it's a full-time position or a part-time position? A lot of this comes down to how diligent is that elected official, how dedicated are they? I mean, there are plenty of full-time elected officials in the world, whether it's state representatives or state senators or mayors, who are not that responsive, and then there are plenty of part-time folks who are very responsive. So I don't know that it's all about the part-time or full-time. The other thing that I would say is, I think council members, when they select their council president, are well equipped to take that question into account. How much time does the person have to devote to the position? How diligent are they in responding to people, et cetera? I'm just, and I do agree that the president should certainly get substantially more pay. The only concern I have is really effectively limiting the ability and discretion of council colleagues to select who wants to serve in that role, and of limiting the person who can serve in that role. And maybe to a certain extent this comes down to quibbling over the words full-time, but that's my concern, is that an person's had a career for, umpteen years with a career that they want to continue, because that's got the opportunity for career advancement, it's got the opportunity for a good retirement, and they would be a great city council president, as Art McClellan was or Lee Jones was, and yet they're effectively denied this opportunity because their employer is going to say, this is a full-time job, I will not allow you to do that because you can't have two full-time jobs. That really is the crux of my concern. There might be some wordsmithing that could address the desire to have a president who certainly has the ability to devote more time to the position. I just get nervous about the words full-time for the reasons I've expressed, that's all.
Thank you. Payne?
Good evening again. Madam Chair, this was one of the concerns that I had at first, and I had spoken to Commissioner Williams and changing my vote for that that position, because right now we have council persons really not understanding this part, and I think that it's going to take a while for them to understand. And if we're trying to get I think we're looking into something that's in the future, which would be good, but I think it's something that you have to tiptoe to get there. And I just think that it just may not pass through the council.
So,
Thank you. Williams?
so I hear Commissioner Payne, I hear Mayor Grimo. I'm adamant that they should be full-time, but I think that we can book in an exemption the same way we did with the public integrity officer. So I think it should speak to full-time or some kind of equivalent. I don't know what that is. I'm looking at you, Commissioner Stewart.
Yeah, my suggestion is that we table this until Saturday, and I can craft some additional language. But I agree with you. I think some exemption would be good, and we can follow some language. Sound good? I want to move on to the other thousands of them.
Yeah, I get it. We've spent a lot of time on this, so I get
We're
it.
moving on.
Yeah, I know. Are you talking about moving on the conversation about two at large?
No, we're moving on to another section.
No. Tabling two at large.
We're not talking
We're
about
not
that large.
talking
We're
about
talking about the council president being full-time right now. That's where we're at.
That's what it is.
That's the discussion right now. And we're tabling that to come up with some language. And Mayor Grimo, if you can,
Go on to the next
Yes.
section?
no,
Absolutely.
I was gonna say if you could.
I can get with Scott and try to come,
Yeah, that's
forgive me,
what,
Commissioner
yeah,
Stewart.
so we
I'm-
can make
I'm
sure
being
that
very,
your point.
Again, we're informal here.
So, yeah, no, that's definitely connect in the next day or two. Well, I guess it will have to be tomorrow because your meeting's 2 days from now, so, yeah. Section 3.111, appointment of the clerk. This, again, is probably it would probably be more important probably get the feedback of council than of me. But I was wondering, the part about the clerk is removable if I have 5 members of council or council president and 3 members of council, that made sense to me. But then I wondered to myself, with the additional, I think it makes sense to make sure they have a yearly evaluation, so I understood that part of this as well. But the one part that I wasn't sure how to reconcile is, it says, the council shall appoint a city clerk for an indefinite period upon a satisfactory evaluation. And my question about that clause is, are you trying to limit the council's discretion to remove the clerk such that the council wouldn't be able to remove the clerk by 5 votes if the clerk has a satisfactory evaluation? I thought that it could be interpreted that way. Maybe that's your intention, which is fine, but I just wanted to highlight that question because I think someone could read this and say, well, 5 people or the council president and 3 people can't remove the clerk if the clerk's gotten a satisfactory evaluation. And that also begs the question of, well, what is a satisfactory, quote unquote, evaluation? You know, is a C plus satisfactory? I'm, being a little glib using the school grade analogy, but you get my point. Like, what is satisfactory, what isn't satisfactory? And that can be important if their discretion to remove the clerk is hinging on that.
So what is your language that you're proposing?
Well, I would think the council should have discretion to select their city clerk. And my instinct is to just eliminate upon a satisfactory evaluation. I would keep the clerk shall have a yearly evaluation. But I would, again, it's a better question maybe for city council, but I would think city council wouldn't want to tie their hands about selecting a city clerk, which is in essence a political appointment in a sense.
I guess I'm confused. And I am tired, so I'm gonna apologize. As I read this, I don't see them tying their hands. I see that they can appoint a clerk, and then they have to have a yearly evaluation, and that yearly evaluation has to be satisfactory, in order for them to stay in that job. And let me just, and stop me if I'm wrong here, but we wanted some checks and balances because right now the clerk is appointed by the council.
Right.
Let's say I don't like the clerk and he messing up a whole lot.
Yep.
I can go to my council person and say, this is a problem. And now there's a process for them to be able to say, hey, we need to reevaluate. Citizens are reaching out to us saying they're going down there, they can't vote, whatever the issue is. So it gives them the opportunity. I think that was the reason that this was put in here. And it might not be worded the best, but that was the reason.
Yeah, if you want to give the council broad discretion and you're not looking to limit their discretion to remove a clerk, I think maybe this second sentence of the clerk is removable by 5 members of the council or council president and 3 members of council, you might want to just put a clause in front of that says something like the city clerk is employed at will, and may be removed by 5 members of the council, or a council president and 3 members of council, something like that.
Thank you. Any other discussion? All right, if you could go to the next one.
Let's see, I thought the language in 3.115 was good, actually. Without interference of the mayor, appointee of the mayor, or staff from the executive branch, we make it a point not to interfere with the clerk's operations or legislative staff, but I know that hasn't always been the case, so I understand the concern there. I did not, this is more of a question than anything else. I wasn't clear on the language in 3.117, which is investigated powers. Well, a couple things. I think that maybe is a typo and it should be investigative powers in the heading instead of investigated powers. And then I wasn't sure I understood everything that the prior commission was proposing, but I wasn't sure about apply to the appropriate court and/or appropriate board or commissions, because I wasn't sure what those boards or commissions, if they're city boards or commissions, what those might be.
Were you gonna say that?
Yeah, we had added a ethics board and those types of things. I
Oh,
think that's
okay.
what they were referring to.
So maybe
yeah.
that's part of the stuff
Yep.
I haven't seen that relates
Yeah.
to the public
Yep.
integrity officer. Okay, so I'll wait until I see that. And then I think there's also a typo there where it says and/or appropriate board or commission and powering investigative
Caught by
powers.
the lawyer too, so, well, we're gonna edit that one for sure.
Okay, yeah, sorry. Not trying to be too picky,
No,
but
I
when I came
appreciate
across these, I thought I'd mention them.
Good when 2 people pointed out, you know?
Okay, then, section 3.120, control of city payroll. No compensation or salary shall be paid to appointees, members of boards or commissions, volunteers, or employees of the city, except as approved by the council. That made sense to me. Then the next sentence, if it is determined that a violation has occurred of this provision, the monetary amount paid would be refunded from the mayor's salary no less than 2 pay periods after the violation has been certified. I don't have a problem with that, except if the council is the one directing the pay of that person. And I bring that up because we give council pretty much control over the council's budget.
I'm sorry, Mayor. Can I stop you?
Yeah.
Our attorney said that probably wasn't legal, so we're probably gonna strike that
Oh,
part.
okay.
Starting, so it'll be council period, and then the rest will be gone.
Oh, okay, got it, okay.
And sorry to interrupt, I'm like, we don't.
No,
need to
that's good,
debate
it's a moot
that.
point, I get your point. I just was like, well, I get it if it's the executive branch paying them, but if it's the council, why am I getting punished? But it's a moot point, so I get it. All right, never mind. Oh, I did have one other question about this, actually. Historically, there was really no training done for these boards, but we are now doing some training for these boards. We've really tried to amp up training for employees and for volunteer boards. And I thought it might make sense to say something like no compensation or salary other than training expenses or something like that, something that allows for expenses relating to training. I'm not sure exactly how to wordsmith that, but it seemed to me that we wanted to make sure that, hey, if they, stay overnight in Dearborn for a training session that actually is a real training session, not a boondoggle, that this didn't run afoul of the city charter or whatever. I mean, that's just an example. I don't know that we actually have done any overnight things for them. I don't think we have, actually, to be honest. But I just bring that up to say, maybe that's a bad example, but if they go to a conference, do they get reimbursed for mileage? Maybe that's a better example. Like if they drive to Lansing for a conference, can they get reimbursed for their mileage? Or does that run afoul of compensation?
Okay, I'm sorry, we have some side conversations happening. So there is an entire section for boards and commissions, and we did talk about that.
Oh, okay.
But I dare you to ask me what it said. I can't remember.
Probably a good thing to revisit. I can't remember what we added.
Yeah. One second. So there was a conversation, because I remember Commissioner Payne talking about trainings to Mount Clemens, and we was just like, part of community investment, good luck in life. So I know that we did decide not to compensate them for that, but we can and will revisit that section, but there's a whole section on it.
Yeah, and I'm actually not suggesting that they get compensated in the form of a cash payment to them. I don't think we should allow that. I just want to make sure that they could get reimbursed for reasonable expenses. Yeah, exactly.
Thank you.
Yep.
Payne.
Remind you that we did discuss that, and that, you know, because that wasn't the only training that I went to voluntarily. And at the time, that was, gas was pretty expensive then, and there was no reimbursement for anything. And I think that if you want to make sure that our especially these committees that were actually noted in here are well-rounded with training and with education and performing their duties, you do want to make sure that they have the necessary education in order to do that. And the only way to get them to do that is to pay them for that service or mileage or something to get them there.
Yep.
Thank you. So we will revisit that. Thank you.
Section 3.301, this is authority to establish auditor. I don't know if that section is already in the current city charter, or if this is being proposed by this commission or by the last commission. But I was wondering a little bit about it because I thought they already had that authority under their broader authority to hire employees. And there's another section that makes it very clear that they can hire folks. Let me see here. Where was that? At least I thought there was. Let's see here.
So I think the reason that this is there, Mayor Grimo,
Yeah.
is because when the emergency manager came, he took out the language of legislative auditor.
Oh, I see. So it was in the charter?
It was in the 82 charter.
I see.
And so that's what
Okay.
Attorney Sharp position used to be,
Yes.
right? And then they changed it to legislative something else, but he removed that language from the actual charter. So that charter had legislative auditor in there in peace. So I don't think it's about their ability to remove or not remove. I think it's restoring that section to the charter.
Okay. I don't have super strong feelings about it. I just thought it was sort of redundant authority to hire employees, and I think they do.
They do.
I thought, well, there's nothing stopping them from hiring an auditor now, was my point.
Yeah, but I think that just requires that they have a legislative auditor in the council. Yeah.
We did, yeah.
Okay, got it. Okay, and it sounds like this gives them the authority to do it. It doesn't necessarily require them to do it, but they're allowed to do it.
Yes.
I've got no problem with it. I would just say I think they already can do that, but no harm in adding it in. Oh, well, I do have one question about that, actually. Why, this makes it sound like once they hire the auditor is there for at least 4 years, unless a supermajority of 5 council members removes the auditor.
We voted to get rid of the auditor section and allow them to figure out their own
Yeah,
stuff.
it's,
So,
it's about the having, what you said, so there is a whole department of city council that allows them to hire, so that part is taken out.
Oh, okay, okay.
yeah, so we said, let's just give them the latitude to kind of identify what staff they need, and auditor could be one of those.
Oh, okay.
So we just got rid of that section
Okay,
and allowed it to
okay,
be flexible.
that's what I, got it, okay. I must be looking at something a little older then.
Yeah, the attorney, we had finished some other provisions, and I think those were after the attorney reviewed that, so that's why I think what you're seeing is there.
Okay, got it. By the way, I thought the idea of making it very clear when the mayor and city council take office was well handled. Because the current charter is very unclear about that. There's actually a little bit of conflict in the current charter over when that exact date is, or time. It seems like it's arguably a little different for the mayor than city council. So I thought that made a lot of sense. You say 8 a.m. 2 weeks after certification of election by Oakland County, so.
Yeah, and unfortunately, we had to change that too, because apparently Michigan law states it has to be January 1st at noon, by noon.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I
that
thought,
was-
I thought some cities,
That's what I thought too.
they
Did it-
But that's what the attorney said, so
Oh,
I'm gonna have,
okay.
that may be a good question.
Southfield does.
I
Yeah,
know.
that's what I thought.
That's what, that, again, that's just
unless
what
it's
he said.
different for strong mayor forms of government or something, but I don't know.
We can
Yeah.
always ask him.
Yeah.
But I understood
But
the
I like
desire
that,
to
yeah.
avoid kind of a lame duck period. too,
Yeah.
Probably, so,
We
anyway.
can revisit that.
I mean, either way is fine. I don't have strong feelings about lame duck period or no lame duck period, but I understood the concern about lame duck period.
What section was that?
That's it's for the mayor, it's 4.101. For the
Okay.
council, it is 3.103. Then under 4.101A, it's no secret that I did not live in the city of Pontiac 2 years before the filing deadline for the office. So I have no problem requiring this for future elections. But unless you're trying to get rid of me in the middle of my term, and if so, just say so, I thought it might make sense to say effective with the next election or something.
And I'll note, we went through transitional and schedule provisions that are later noted, and we noted that any currently held position will be there until they end their next election.
Oh, okay,
So
okay, got it.
you're good there.
All
Yep.
right. Yeah, I mean, hey, I get it.
He
Just
would
come out
have
and
been
say it.
campaigning against the charter.
What? Not today. I just said I was tired. Go ahead, Mayor. Not today.
Then there are two sections, and again, maybe the attorney caught this, but there are two sections that are inconsistent with each other, I think, if I'm reading them right, which I may not be. So section 4.102, under duties of the mayor, says that the mayor has to present the proposed annual balanced budget at least 4 months prior to the start of the new fiscal year. But then section 5.102 says 90 days. So one section says 4 months, which would be roughly 120 days. The other section says 90 days. So I think we want to make sure. Section 4.102, which says 4 months. And then section 5.102, which says 90 days. I would recommend 90 days,
Yeah.
which is longer than now. I also think putting it in days instead of months is helpful, just to have some additional clarity about exactly how long it is, since months vary in length.
Yeah, and I think the second section that you're talking about, Mayor, is the one that we hatched out, so I think we just need to update this section.
Okay.
Or just get, I don't know, well, we could just.
I thought the addition of monthly regular financial reports made sense. I did have a question about that, which is, it says,
Where you at?
I'm sorry. Yeah, 4.102E.
Okay.
I thought it might make sense just to be a little clear, rather than seeing those monthly regular financial reports be provided to the legislative branch. I thought it should just be providing those
It's
monthly regular.
changed to say that.
Oh, okay,
It says
sorry.
providing
changes.
monthly, yeah.
Yeah, and then, I guess lawyers think alike, I'm sorry. And then, the other thing I was wondering, it's a little vague about this, what we currently do is we provide them to the Finance and Personnel Committee. And I guess that would check the box of providing it to the legislative branch, but I don't know what your intent was, and you might want to make that clear.
Can you tell me who you provided to now?
To the Finance and Personnel Committee.
Okay.
You could just say, to the appropriate committee of city council or something, or subcommittee. They call them subcommittees, not committees, but subcommittee.
Yeah, but I don't think those are currently required at all, like, as far as the charter goes on the timeliness of either.
I agree. I thought adding this in was important. I just wanted to clarify if the subcommittees would satisfy this section.
Williams, I'm asking you because
Well,
you've done.
yeah,
this
so I was
before.
on the finance, so that was the only committee that I was on all my 12 years, was the finance subcommittee. And so I think that for the monthly reports, I think the finance subcommittee would count. But I think that the language and quarterly financial statements provided by independent to the city's legislative branch should stay the same. So that way it would basically, because they have subcommittee meetings, but we had them once a month.
Right.
And then they can do that. But then I think the bigger quarterly report, that's what the independent auditor needs to be provided to the whole body.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. I did have a question about that.
Hold on one second, Mayor. I just want to make sure. So we have providing monthly regular financial reports of revenues and expenditures to the appropriate legislative subcommittee, period. And then in quarterly financial statements provided by an independent auditor to the city to the legislative branch.
So this was, the second part was a change that was made in the new charter. We didn't come up with that language. of
So
the
I'm just
independent
saying
auditor.
that
No, I'm just saying. 'cause
Would that make you comfortable?
That would make me comfortable, but I
Okay.
think the mayor has a question about the independent auditor part, and I'm just trying to explain that we didn't come up with that. new
I
language.
get it, yeah.
Okay.
And my question is about the independent auditor part, because we don't, and I don't know that the city ever has done this. I don't know, but I don't know that any city does this. How we do it, and I think how the city's done it, and how at least most cities do it, is we don't have ongoing audits constantly throughout the year. Once our fiscal year ends, June 30th, we then have an auditor who spends the next, 4 or 5 months preparing the annual audit. And I think that's pretty standard at least in Michigan, because the state of Michigan requires an annual audit done and have that filed with the state by December 31st for the preceding fiscal year. So I don't think we have a way, I don't think we audit quarterly, we audit annually. I don't have a problem with now we could say provide quarterly financial statements to the city legislative branch. I have no problem with that. And I have no problem saying that the annual audit by independent auditors will be provided to the legislative branch, or we could even do both. But we don't have a quarterly audit, and we really only have our auditors here for, 4, 5, 6 months of the year, not the whole year.
Williams?
Yeah, Mayor Grama, can you read the legislation? Can you read the section as you would want it to read?
Yeah, so I think it's been revised a little bit since the version I have in front of me, but I think it currently says providing monthly regular financial reports of revenues and expenditures to the legislative branch. And then I guess I would just say, and quarterly financial statements of the city to the legislative branch.
So Chairwoman Ramsey, can you read what you changed to the subcommittees and then add that new language?
Yes. But it's gonna sound different, because I didn't like what I just heard, so I'm gonna just tell y'all now. Providing monthly regular financial reports of revenues and expenditures to the appropriate legislative subcommittee, period.
Okay.
And annual financial statements provided by an independent auditor to the city, of the city to the legislative branch.
That works great. Yeah, that works great. That was sort of the alternative, so.
You got that, Stuart?
Read that second sentence. Read where the and.
Okay,
Yeah, I don't think you want a period before the and, but other than that, I thought it was perfect,
no.
yeah.
Well, we could, annual financial statements provided by independent auditors of the city to the legislative branch, instead of quarterly, annual.
So I like the
That works.
annual part, but I think we also need to have quarterly financial statements provided to the city council. So
Okay.
not by auditor though, so keep your
Okay,
language. the way
so
you have
add it all. Providing monthly regular financial reports of revenues and expenditures to the appropriate legislative subcommittee. Semicolon.
No,
And quarterly financial statements provided by the city to the legislative branch. And, no, what about the
in
annual?
the period right there.
Period. And then annual financial reports provided by independent auditors of the city to the legislative branch. Okay.
Move.
Stuart, you good? Okay. All right. Is there a motion?
I said moved.
Is there a support? Oh,
Support.
It's been moved by Williams and supported by Stewart. 4.102, duties of the mayor, E as in Edward, providing monthly regular financial reports of revenues and expenditures to the appropriate legislative subcommittee, and quarterly financial reports provided by the city to the legislative branch, period. And annual financial reports provided by independent auditors of the city to the legislative branch, period. Discussion, roll call.
If I could, Madam Chair, I think substantively that works fine. But I think there might be a little bit of wordsmithing that might make sense. And I'm thinking it should say, providing monthly regular financial reports of revenues and expenditures to the legislative branch, which you have. Then I would say, comma, quarterly financial statements to the legislative branch, comma, and annual financial statements provided by independent auditors of the city to the legislative branch.
All right, Stuart got that.
Yeah, I got it.
Thank you.
Okay, I rescind my motion.
Rescind your support.
Sorry, rescind my support.
All right. Is there a motion to adopt as just read by the mayor?
Yes, so moved.
Support.
Moved by, would you wait 1 second, sir? I said you wait 1 second. Thank you. Moved by Stewart, supported by Williams. Discussion. Turpin,
Are you saying that the,
turn your mic on.
are you saying that the quarterly, audit is being done by the auditors?
No, not anymore.
Okay, so this city's doing a regular, then you got quarterly, then you have yearly.
So the way it reads
So
now.
the way it was reading, it sounded like they're saying the quarterly and yearly were done by the independent auditor.
No, so now, the way that it's going to flow is that the finance department will present a report to the appropriate council subcommittee, most likely the finance committee, monthly. Then, on a quarterly basis, the city will provide to the entire council, the legislative branch, a quarterly report. In addition to that, an annual audit will be provided to the city council done by independent auditors. So those are the 3 steps. So monthly report goes to the subcommittee, quarterly report goes to the whole body, audit done independently happens annually.
You good, Turpin?
Yep.
All right. There's been a move in support. We had discussion. Any more discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Killian,
Yes.
Payne,
Yes.
Ramsey.
Yes.
Stewart,
Yes.
Turpin,
Yep.
Williams,
Yes.
Burrows.
Yes.
7 yeas.
All right, Mayor, you're on.
Section 4.103 regarding the deputy mayor. I think I think the substance is good. I think it needs some wordsmithing for clarification, because when I first read this, what I thought it was requiring is you've got to have a bachelor's degree in public administration, business administration, or a related field, no matter what. A master's degree is preferred. And I asked our current deputy mayor, do you have a bachelor's degree in public administration, business administration, or a related field? The answer is no, but he does have a master's degree in business administration. So I think it might make more sense to say a bachelor's degree or a master's degree in public administration, business administration, or related field, with a master's degree being preferred. And I say that just because if somebody majored in English as an undergraduate, but then they have a master's in business administration or a master's in public administration, I don't think you want to disqualify those folks from serving in that role. I might be misunderstanding the intent, I don't know.
And I think this is the language that emergency manager put in as part of the transition plan to the city. So I don't think we came up with it, but I think that what you're saying makes sense. I'm just thinking that's where that block of language came from.
I get it, yeah.
So we've added it for an update.
Well, I don't, I also thought the word "a combination of" was a little odd, because that almost suggests you need both a degree in public administration and a degree in business administration. So my thought was, a person serving in the position of deputy mayor shall have a bachelor's degree, shall have a bachelor's degree or a master's degree in public administration, business administration, or a related field, with a master's degree being preferred. And I thought everything else was fine.
You got that, Stuart? Thank you.
I make a motion to approve as the mayor read.
Thank you. Support. It's been moved by Stewart and supported by Williams to adopt 4.103, second paragraph as read by the mayor. Roll call.
Commissioner Killian,
Yes.
Payne, Ramsey.
Yes.
Stewart,
Yes.
Turpin,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Burrows.
Yes.
7 yeas.
Let's see, 4.104. A couple questions. One is the current charter, although both of us are at almost every meeting, the current charter does not require both the mayor and deputy mayor to be at a meeting. It requires the mayor or deputy mayor to be at a meeting.
Let me read it to you because it's been updated.
Oh, okay,
The
sorry.
mayor or the deputy mayor shall attend all meetings of the council and respond to questions from council members and citizens, make reports and present proposals by the following regular city council meeting. Failure to present and to respond to council members or citizens will be investigated by the public integrity officer, period.
It also notes you may designate a city administrative official.
The mayor and the deputy mayor may designate a city administrative officer to attend meetings of the council on their behalf when they are temporarily absent due to an emergency or disability.
Okay, got it. No, I think that all makes sense. I might suggest something a little broader than emergency or disability, like due to exceptional circumstances or something like that. But I defer to you. I mean, I think currently, we've always, well, at least one of us has always been in every meeting. I could imagine scenarios where both of us are unable to attend due to reasons other than literal emergency or like it, but I defer to you guys.
Are y'all allowed to be in the same car at the same time? You know, the president and the vice president can't do that. I'm just asking for clarification.
I think there can be some clarity in how it's worded. I would recommend putting a period after and present proposals, and then say something about, because I think I now understand it, but I was initially unclear on the wording. I think what you're driving at is responding to questions by the following regular city council meeting, is that right?
Yes.
But because there are a bunch of words in between of make reports and present proposals, I at least was confused by the way it was written. So I think you might want to put a period after proposals and say something like, the executive branch must, answer questions posed by city council members by at one city council meeting by the next city council meeting or something.
And when we noted making reports as well, like that could be, we're working on it. So that was kind of like, a report doesn't have to be this official whole, that's kind of responding to questions too. But our intention in that was that, hey, like that report, making reports, maybe there is a proposal down the line, but that report could be, hey, we heard your question and we're working on it. Or we understand this, our team is looking into it. Like, that could be the extent of what that report is. That is, I know, the conversation we had.
Okay.
And the reason why it says regular city council meeting is because there could be a special meeting. So let's say y'all had to call a special meeting for Friday, and then the next meeting is on Tuesday. So you literally have one business day.
Okay.
So that's why it says a regular meeting, and to make sure
And/or
it's not
emergency
happening with the special meetings.
Oh, okay. So then do you want, because the copy I say says by the following regular city council meeting and/or emergency meeting, do you just want it to be regular city
So
council
we
meeting?
struck that language.
Oh, okay.
The and/or emergency meeting is.
That was struck.
Yeah, so
Okay,
it says
got it.
regular city council meeting, period. and
I
then
see, okay.
failure
Got
to
it.
present.
Yeah, there's a lot of copies out there. Some of it has been updated from the attorney too, who did.
Okay. I get a little, thing went off. I get a little concerned about not having some qualifying language around a requirement to answer questions from the public, because most members of the public ask very substantive questions about city operations. But we have had, I won't mention any names, but we have had members of the public who sometimes ask questions like, well, not just to the mayor's office, but sometimes to the city council, like, why are you so dumb? I'm just throwing, I mean, literally. And then, so what are we supposed to do? Come back the next week and say, well, I have to answer the question about why I'm so dumb, so let me answer that. It would be helpful to have some qualifying language, like substantive questions about city policy or operations or something like that.
So Mayor Grimer, we're gonna give you this copy. This is what the lawyer updated.
Oh,
so that
okay.
might help you out, but I just wanna, he hasn't been reading from it. So, we got about an hour left, so we just wanna make sure. No. So, anyway, that's the one, that's the newest one. So,
Thank you, Sheila.
Okay, yeah, I don't think this copy addresses the concern I just expressed.
no, I wanna address your concern that you expressed, but I want to give you that copy, just so you can see the language that we had stricken from the thing, so we
Yeah.
can probably move the discussion along. I think, what we hope to do is have it, if there is a problem and you feel like you don't, or can't answer a question or shouldn't answer a question from a community member or a citizen, that it would have to go through the public integrity officer to force you to answer that question. So that way, we're not quibbling over what is substantive, because what my example of substantive and your example may be two different things, so it doesn't really speak to that.
Well, might it make more sense then to say, may be investigated by the integrity officer? I mean, my reading of this is any failure to answer a question, no matter how unreasonable or improper that question may be, must be investigated by the public integrity officer.
I hear what you are saying, and watch city council meetings regularly, and I agree, that it could put both the mayor and the council, but I think this is just about the mayor in a very difficult, position when people are asking disrespectful or questions that just don't deserve an answer.
Well, yeah, or even questions about a person's personal life, for
Yeah,
example.
yeah.
I can go with May.
May,
Yeah, I can go with May.
okay, we're May.
So, Mayor Grammer, can you read it as you would want it to be?
Yeah, failure to present and respond to council members or citizens may be investigated by the integrity officer.
Okay.
Motion to, yep.
Okay, it's been motioned by Williams and supported by Stewart, to read 4.104, relations with city council. The mayor or the deputy mayor shall attend all meetings of the council and respond to questions from council members and citizens, make reports, and present proposals. Are we keeping by the following regular city council meeting, period?
Yes.
Failure to present and respond to council members or citizens may be investigated by the public integrity officer. The mayor and the deputy mayor may designate a city administrative officer to attend meetings of the council on their behalf when they are temporarily absent due to an emergency or disability. And the mayor has requested that we change that last sentence.
Yeah, something a little broader, like due to exceptional circumstances. When I hear emergency, I think, oh, we're both in the hospital or something. But I could imagine a scenario where there's truly something important happening in Lansing or something important happening somewhere else where it might make sense that we are both there at an event and have someone else standing in for us. But I think there has to be some qualifying thing like exceptional circumstances, because although the deputy and I are both at almost every single city council meeting, I could imagine some administrations abusing that if there's not some qualifying language about exceptional circumstances.
And I hear you, Mayor Grammer. I don't think we should change it. I think that being somewhere where you're getting money for the city and you and the deputy mayor have to be there may qualify as an emergency if it has to be. But I do think that we've had bad actors in the past that will abuse extenuating circumstances as they see fit.
I understand. I don't have super strong feelings about it. Although I will just note that the opposite has been weaponized by bad actors, where they say, you can't meet anymore because neither of us are here.
Right.
Yes, but I don't, and we went to court on that, so I don't think they even have that's a different animal, is what I'm saying. Because I think that what qualifies a council meeting, we didn't dig into just because of time's sake of coming up with this charter, but I think that's another problem, just in general, in the way.
No, that's fair. Yeah, that's relatively small potatoes.
Is there the appetite to change it or to approve it as I just read it?
My motion is to approve it as you read it.
Okay, so there's a motion and a support, roll call for 4.104. We've been discussing it. Where you been?
Where you been, you just asked about accepted one way or another, and then you let him motion. That's where I've been.
The motion was already made. Kermit made it, so go ahead if you want discussion.
No, it's not about a discussion, it's just gonna be a point of clarity that it contains to, I agree with what the mayor, partially what the mayor is saying, far as what determines an emergency or not, whether it could be some, circumstantial, conditions or anything else. So I see where we could pigeonhole someone into a corner where they don't have to be. Now, do I totally agree with it? No, but like I said, it is partially that I do hear what he's saying. So,
Any further discussion?
Yes.
Go ahead.
I suppose that follows with the term emergency. What does emergency amount to being? Is that, it could be any number of extenuating circumstances.
Well, let's use that right there. Extenuating circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
Use that.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
is there a reason we can't just put both with a comma?
So there has been a move in support. Do y'all want to rescind, or do we want to vote on it and then
Call
if?
for the vote.
Okay. Roll call.
Commissioner Payne,
No.
Ramsey,
Yes.
Stewart,
Yes.
Turpin,
No.
Williams,
Yes.
Burrows,
No.
Killian.
no.
That motion fails.
All
3
right.
yeas, 4 noes.
Thank you. So 4.104, if Payne, Turpin, Killian, and Burrows can get together to reword that for Saturday. Thank you. Mayor.
And some of this might have already been cleaned up, because I know the language has changed a little bit. But just a couple, and again, I don't want to belabor this, I'm not trying to be highly technical, but I thought I might share some typos that I saw. In section 4.106, it says, if a mayoral appointment is not approved by the council within 30 days after the submission of the appointment to the council, the version I have says, then the mayor have the right to resubmit. I think it should be has the right to resubmit. And then under subsection B of that section, 4.106, it says any extension of the interim role is subject to, it says approve, but I think it should be approval by vote of the council. Oh, okay, got it. I thought maybe that was the case. And then, kind of in a similar vein, under department heads, section 4.107, it says each department head shall, and then A and B actually have action words like hire, promote, or assign duties of. But then section C, at least the version I have, just says as consistent with job description. So it probably needs something there like shall perform their duties as consistent with job description.
Is there a motion?
I move it. Support.
It's been moved by Stewart and supported by Williams for 4.107. C is in Charles to be updated as read by the mayor. And I believe Stewart has, yeah. Discussion? Discussion. Anybody got anything to say? One more time. All right, roll call.
I'm sorry, did Stewart move or?
Stewart moved, Williams
Williams.
supported.
Okay. Commissioner Ramsey,
Yes.
Stewart? Turpin,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Burrows,
Yes.
Killian,
Yes.
Payne.
Yes.
7 yeas.
Thank you. Mayor?
Yeah, let me first say, you'll be happy to hear I'm getting close to the end here. I'm sorry that I'm.
You know what? Hold on, because you got a whole list of stuff that if you don't go over, Scott gonna come over there and fight you. This list right here. Get this list to the man, Scott.
The areas that we have not been able to go through and that we had asked were Article 5, Chapters 4, 5, and 6, and Article 6, Chapters 2, 3, and 4, all things on assessments of taxes. So because we have been waiting to go through those ones, so either we got to do it on Saturday and be ready to move, because we still got 40 pages of attorney comments to go through, so I'm just worried about timeline here.
Well, some of these have already been done.
not those, barely, but like some general attorney stuff, but we have not gone through.
First of all,
Yes, go
I
ahead.
plead guilty as charged.
You're
So
good.
Let me
You're
begin by
good.
saying that.
I am anxious on
And-
time frame.
And I really wanted, to be honest, yes, I've gone through it a little bit, but I really want our city attorney and deputy mayor to review it, kind of with and somebody who has some finance expertise to review it. So, let me ask this. Well, we've had a lot on our plates.
Totally understood.
But your point's well taken, Deputy Clerk. So, let me ask this. And I don't know if you were planning to have a final vote on the final product this Saturday. But
No.
I'm wondering if we
8th,
could
though.
have until a week from now to do this.
I think a week from now is when we need to have the final vote.
Which is coming to what I probably suggested before, which is I think we probably need to have one extra meeting.
That last
that
Saturday.
last Saturday. Either that last Saturday or earlier in the week on the 14th. So again, just noting time frame, Mayor, and this is why I'm probably being a little bit more straightforward.
No, you're right.
Across the board.
First of all,
Is
you're
we-
right, frankly.
No, you're good, you're
The
good.
deputy clerk's right. You're a little more diplomatic than the deputy clerk, but
You're good. I'm just also noting, so we got to get this to the Attorney General by the 14th, a final copy.
Got it.
We have no grace period in that. And so that's why, like, the 8th is our final meeting that we have scheduled. We need to, I think we as a commissioner need to probably choose another. I will personally be out of town, so that's why I'm also, listen, I can't change my work schedule, so. Y'all were gone last Saturday, okay? Don't yell at me.
I didn't even say nothing.
Okay, I know your faces. Anyway, so that's our deadline. So that's what we're trying to get to. I am personally fine with, yes, if we can get edits, I would say come, like if you can, and again, part of this is some of these may just be perfectly fine. And you could say, we only have
I
a couple
understand.
edits.
Yeah,
That's what I would
I
suggest.
get it. You want our review and our assessment. What if we provided it to you on Wednesday in writing before the Thursday
Yeah,
meeting? Maybe that would be
helpful.
better.
Yep. And I can communicate with you on that too, because I know we're communicating. So I can just send these on over to you as well, and we can
Okay.
finalize. And then that will allow us on Thursday to walk through any changes on final pieces. That will allow us Saturday to get attorney comments.
I think former council president wants to pile on a little bit and beat me up here too.
No,
So.
no, not at all. I was just wondering, some of these sections that are approved by you or would be approved without any changes, is there any way that you can get them earlier? So what we're focusing on
I got you.
on Thursday would be the things that needed to be changed, so we're not wasting time. If there's sections that are good in the current language from this charter that you have no objections to, maybe giving those earlier, so what you're presenting to Mr. Stewart on Wednesday to get to the body on Thursday would be just the things that needed to be changed. So we're not going through a whole lot of sections.
I got you. Yeah, so why don't we kind of have sort of two deadlines? One is an initial deadline of Tuesday for that low-hanging fruit that's fine, or, you know, a minor tweak or whatever. And then, you know, end of day Wednesday for things we think ought to be changed. Would that work? Okay.
That's fine with me.
All right, so section 4.108, boards and commissions. All appointments shall be subject to approval of the council. I think there are some state laws that conflict with that. So I was wondering if it might make sense to say something like, except as prescribed by state law. Has that already been changed?
I'll note for my commissioners here, this should really be struck.
Thank you, Deputy.
Because
Yeah.
the language in the new chapter
Yeah.
It's a good thing you're here to keep me in line.
completely addresses all this
So
stuff.
4.108 is
Should be
removed.
struck. For some reason, I don't know why the attorney didn't get that
Oh, okay.
copy,
So,
but
so the latest and greatest is except as otherwise required by law or this charter.
we did change some of that language to say yes by state law, because we know there's some state laws on this, but we changed the approval of the voting from the council for mayoral appointments. We added a whole section, Mayor, and again, that was after probably the version that you got and after what the attorney got, that is all about boards and commissions, and that outlines all of the provisions, including the language that was included in initially 4.108.
And I think that's different from what former Council President Williams handed me too.
Yeah, and the
Okay.
attorney still had that section, so that we're just ignoring, and we've moved it into a full section.
Okay, can you send that to me
Yep,
along with the public
absolutely.
integrity stuff?
Yeah, no
Okay,
problem.
awesome. Let's see. I had one or two other questions about boards and commissions, but maybe I'll just hold off on everything until I see the revised section. Let's see. Duties of city attorney. I think I understand the intent here, but I thought I'd ask. So, at least the version I have, it deleted drafting all ordinance proposals and approving them as to form. That was deleted. I'm guessing that there was some concern about past administrations weaponizing the city attorney position. Was that the origin of that? Okay.
Yes, so they took the stance that no ordinance by the council could be done until they approved it by form. So even if it was a template
I thought you might
ordinance,
say that, yeah.
they could not use that because it said the city attorney shall approve versus may approve.
Got it.
So just taking that language out, we understand that the city attorney should be crafting ordinances, but it does not prohibit the legislative body for making laws without city attorney's approval.
What if it said may draft ordinance proposals and approve them as to form if directed to do so by the mayor and or city council or something like that? That makes it clear that that might be their duties to do, but it's not like the city council can't do something on their own if the city attorney is refusing to do it. Maybe that requires a little bit of more in-depth wordsmithing, but you get my point, I think, right?
Madam Clerk, Madam Chairwoman, I think I hear what the mayor is saying. I think that because the department is under the mayor's office, I don't know if you would necessarily need that language if the mayor is instructing the city attorney to do those things at council meetings.
That's fair.
You get what I'm saying? So I don't know if you need to be more prescriptive to somebody who works for you.
Yeah, I'm wondering though, rather than deleting it as a duty, including it as a duty, but making it clear that it's not like the city council can't pass or amend an ordinance if the city attorney isn't helping them. But I'm not sure exactly offhand how to word that, so.
But that's, so if you can get the words, then I think that would be helpful. I see your point. I just don't,
I get it.
It was easier for us to strike it than it was for us to try to wordsmith it.
Got
And
it.
that was 4.202.
That's, yep, and specifically subsection B. And then in subsection C, and I think this is just like a typo, what my version says is, it says preparing, advising without an and in between, and I think it accidentally deleted the and. I think what it's supposed to say is preparing and providing advice about such.
So on the new one, it says, from the attorney, it says furnishing written legal opinions when requested by the mayor, the council, or any department.
Well, that makes sense, but I'm thinking about what I have as subsection C, which is preparing and advising about leases, deeds, contracts?
Oh, that's B and ours.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Probably because B was deleted. Got it.
Yeah.
So B is preparing and advising, they struck the word such, so it's leases, deeds, contracts, or other papers as may be required by the mayor, council, or any department.
Got it. That makes sense. I think it's still a little off. I think it should be preparing and providing advice about, because I don't know how you would, advising leases, that makes it sound like they're giving the advice to the lease.
Okay, so what should it read as, is what I'm saying to you?
Yeah, preparing and providing advice about leases, deeds, contracts, or other papers.
Okay, I make a motion that we change it as read by the mayor.
It's been moved by Williams and supported by Payne to adopt 4.202 B as in boy as read by the mayor. Stewart, you guys have? All right. Discussion? Discussion? Any discussion? Roll call? Cause y'all not gonna play with me today. You're just not. Y'all not, cause I got time.
Commissioner Stewart. Turpin.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Burrows.
Yes.
Killian.
Yes.
Payne.
Yes.
Ramsey.
Yes.
7 yeas.
All right, on section 4.305, restrictions on purchases, my gut is that this is good, but I am going to bounce it off the deputy mayor, and so I'll provide feedback on that when I do on the other chapters that you've requested. One other quick thought there. I wasn't sure I understood the additional sentence of all requisitions shall be filed accordingly within 30 days. Filed where?
To
was
the
my
clerk,
question.
just so we can have record, cause you know, we got years of, we can't find documents.
I got it. So does it say that? Because if not, it should add that in. Shall be filed with the clerk's office.
I think accordingly was that, but we can change that.
Yeah, and the attorney had that comment too.
Yeah.
A question? I think he just wrote question mark.
Question. So all requisitions shall be filed to the city clerk within 30 days.
Yeah, and then I think there probably should be some limit on how long they have to be retained. That could be a very long time period maybe, but I mean, I don't know. Do you want the clerk to retain those for 50 years or 10 years, 20 years? I don't know.
But I think that's why we didn't prescribe it with the clerk, because we thought that maybe these requisitions needed to go to the finance director or whatever. So that's why we said accordingly, and then that would have gave the discretion for the mayor and the city council to determine where they want.
Oh, okay, so maybe we don't want it to be with the clerk's office.
No, I'm not against it being with the clerk's office. We just needed it to be filed, and we don't know what is easier for administration and council to do it. So we don't want to be.
Okay.
We didn't want to be prescribing something that didn't make sense in the normal
I get it.
course of action.
I'm putting down with the clerk's office. I'm gonna talk with the deputy mayor, see if he has thoughts, maybe check in with Garland as well. And I'll provide whatever thoughts we have when we provide thoughts on the other stuff. Does that sound reasonable? Okay. Let's see, the assessment stuff I thought made sense. The powers and duties of police chief I thought made sense. The only other question I had was about, and this again, maybe this was answered in the boards and commissions section. So I see that 4.601 other departments, it used to say boards and commissions, and that's been deleted. Is that because that's rolled into the boards and commissions section?
Yep.
Then I'm going to not comment on it until I see the boards and commissions section. I think that's everything I had noted to talk about. Are there any other general changes that maybe I haven't touched on? I know there's the section about the public integrity officer. There's a section about boards and commissions. Are there any other obvious changes that I haven't touched on and probably aren't aware of?
I think our big areas that we added were really the Department of City Council is one, which we've kind of talked through today a little bit.
Okay.
The Public Integrity Officer, the Board of Ethics. Those are all kind of bigger chapters. We kept, and those other two are included in the ethical standards kind of article or whatever it is.
Okay.
So I'll send you anything that is like major pieces that we've added. The rest, we've gone through most of the language and just kind of made tweaks or took some things out, you know, as we kind of walked through. But for the most part, those are the areas. The other one, oh yeah, and then boards and commissions, I'm sorry. But in boards and commissions, I'll just note the big change that we probably put there was just some kind of how things are decided. And the one thing that we did add was a charter review informal board, not a charter review commission,
Oh,
just
okay.
noting.
Yeah.
So don't want to follow the state law there.
I get it.
Is more something that can come to, so that's, I think, to the point around all this, right? Like language changes and all this stuff, right? We know that we're not going to get all that right by the 14th. And so our goal for that, my goal for that was to say, let's have a group that can come together that's appointed for a short period of time that can actually come through and say, okay, let's actually go through this really deeply again, because we kind of got rushed on this dais here, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Let's have someone be able to go through really deeply into this charter again, and then recommend potential changes, revisions, wording to the city council to put on a potential ballot. So if there are things that we need to change some language on,
Right.
we can always send it to the voters if we need to. It has, we haven't always had the best luck with that in the past, but
Yeah.
that was our intention on that, is that there's a group that's looking at this a little bit more regularly. That's actually like on a time frame. So we did it both right after this is done, so that we have for a year period, a group looking at this
Yeah.
to recommend some changes, and then every 5 years thereafter. So every 5 years they'll come together and do a quick, to do a year review of this product and recommend any changes that make sense. So that's something that I'll send you to in the boards and commissions section.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
And then, the city council department, I guess, is the other thing.
Yep.
And then also, if you have a latest and greatest updated entire
Yeah.
charter document that you can send, that would be awesome.
Yeah, I'll send you all that stuff. I can
Okay.
do it.
Do you have
so
my,
that
do you have my email, Scott?
I should, yeah.
Let me, it's T. Grimel.
Yep.
The tricky part is spelling my last name, of course, which is a very weird last name. And then it's at pontiac.mi.us.
Perfect. Yeah, can do.
Okay.
So I'll send you that stuff either tonight or early tomorrow, and
Okay.
then
That
you'll
sounds
have
great.
it. Great.
I've got a bunch of stuff here. Am I allowed to take everything that's been handed to me other than this binder?
Yeah, everything besides the binder.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
All right, but let me say, I know I'm gonna be back anyway, and so it's a little premature to say this, but I do just wanna say, you all have done an amazing job with this. You've been very dedicated. You've poured an enormous amount of hours into this, and you've been really thoughtful and deliberative. And I just think we're really fortunate to have such great charter commissioners who are serving in this capacity, so thank you all.
Thank you, Mayor Grimel. Can we use that for our charter commercial as we're going to be going to the residents? Yeah, that is mine, but just.
Yeah, appreciate it.
All right, is it the pleasure of the board to go back to reviewing the comments by our legal counsel? Yes, okay, so thank you. Before we do that, I would like to have a point of privilege to talk about adding Saturday, February 10th, 2024 as a meeting date.
Moved.
All right, if people could look at their calendars. Discussion.
I will not be here. I'll be out of town.
Okay, so you and Stewart will be out of town. Anyone else, any discussion? Saturday, February 10th, 10 o'clock? All right, any other discussion? Any other discussion? Roll call?
Turpin. Yes. Williams.
Yes.
Burrows.
Yes.
Killian.
Yes.
Payne.
Yes.
Ramsey.
Yes.
Stewart.
Yes.
7 yeas.
Thank you. I will be turning over the rest of this meeting to Vice Chair Williams. Good night, everyone.
Yes, go ahead, Commissioner Payne.
I'm wondering, should we add another day through the week, just so that by that Saturday, we will be completed?
Well, I guess the issue with that is some of the information we're not gonna get from the mayor until
Or will it be
Wednesday.
that Thursday?
Well, no, he said Wednesday, was
I mean,
the,
he said Wednesday, and if we have that Wednesday, then we could meet Thursday.
yeah, but we gotta get the information, then we gotta
Oh,
read the
okay.
information, then, I mean, so
Sure.
it really just, depends, in my opinion, on how much we actually prepare for the meeting before we come to the meeting. Because I think that will be the key thing, especially if we're just going through sections that are going to be easily approved. And so we need to kind of take these next couple minutes and get through as much of the lawyers' changes as possible. And then I think we can then adjourn. So what section are we on, Commissioner Stewart?
The
Should
last-
be on, we just went through the
Page 7.
ordinance.
Was it
Yep,
Page 7, H, review.
Well, I think the mayor took us all the way to page.
yeah, but there are some that he didn't go through. I
Okay, so
would
y'all
go
want
on
to go
page
back to
7.
what section?
Page 7, I'd start with 3.113.
Okay, we're going back to page 7. Go ahead, Commissioner Stewart.
Sure, let me just get to my notes. Okay, so what the attorney had comment on was on the transfer of city property and contracts. What it reads is the city may not sell, lease, exchange, or in any way dispose of any real property of the city or any property of the city, except such property as may have been defined by ordinances as a minor without approval after public notice and hearing by resolution of the council, nor may the city enter into a contract if there is not a sufficient unencumbered appropriation available to discharge fully the city's obligation thereunder without approval by the council. What he said was no sale or lease unless required by ordinance, not all as written. The city may not sell, lease, or exchange, or in any way dispose of any real property. What about with vote of electors? So this may be one that we ask him next
Yeah,
week.
let's, is there a motion to table?
So moved.
So that's for, where should we say that's for the mayor?
No, that's for the attorney that will be here Saturday.
Oh, attorney.
Thursday, next Thursday.
Next Thursday, I'm sorry. 3.113, there's a motion to table. Is there support?
Support.
All right, it's been moved and supported. Any discussion on tabling this item? Seeing none, roll call.
I moved.
It was moved by Stewart, supported by Killian.
Commissioner Williams,
Yes.
Burrows,
Yes.
Killian,
Yes.
Payne,
Yes.
Stewart,
Yes.
Turpin.
Yes.
6 yeas. Table.
All right, continuing on that, the next comment was on staff. Which one? Ordinance? We had talked through G, I think, but I think we made the note that there was some other changes we want to make, so we'll bring that back on Saturday.
I think we was just gonna pretty much table that. That's all.
Exactly. Yep. So, I just wanted to see what he had on here. Okay. So his comment was in 3.115, not 3.116, under staff is what constitutes interference. I think we had some discussion on this. I think this is an area where if there is interference, it can be investigated by other authorities. So I would rather keep it broad and we just note that.
Okay.
What are we gonna do with that?
So I think we just keep it as is.
Um,
So motion to keep it as is, unless,
Is there
Motion.
support?
Oh, you did.
yeah, support. So,
Is there support?
yeah.
Support.
Support.
Okay, it's been moved by Stewart, supported by Payne. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call?
Commissioner Burrows, Killian,
Yes.
Payne,
Yes.
Stewart,
Yes.
Turpin,
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
5 yeas.
All right, the next one was 3.117, which was investigative powers, and this is a comment that Mayor Grimel also brought up that we noted. The question was just, what is powering? So I believe there's just a word change here. And provide investigative powers, or, I think that's what, we just need to modify that powering word.
Okay, so what's your recommendation, Stewart?
I don't know.
You want to table it?
I think we
It should be empowering,
empowering.
empowering investigative powers to the appropriate board of commission.
I'm good with that.
Okay, so is there a motion from you, Dr. Turpin?
Well, no, he was just highlighting it. And I think that perhaps the intent of this statement is to empower the investigative powers to the appropriate board of commissions.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So
Yeah, so-
are you making a motion to?
I
use the
make a
word
motion
empowered?
to change the word power into empowering investigative powers to the appropriate board of commission in 3.117.
Okay, is there a second?
Support.
All right, it's been moved and supported. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call?
Commissioner Burrows, Killian,
Yes.
Payne, Stewart,
Yes.
Turpin,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
5 yeas.
All right, next is 3.120. We talked about this at length with the mayor. Again, I think the note was that this provision is not likely legal. So, and that is about the violation and refunding from the mayor's salary. So my suggestion is we just get rid of it.
Okay, so we striking everything after the if.
Can you read?
Yes.
Strike him.
So instead, it will just read, no compensation or salary shall be paid to the appointees, members of boards or commissions, volunteers, or employees of the city except as approved by the council, period.
Okay, is there a motion?
So moved.
Support? Is there support?
Support.
Has been moved and supported. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call?
Commissioner Killian,
Yes.
Payne, Stewart,
Yes.
Turpin,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Burrows.
Abstain.
5 yeas, 1 abstain.
Okay, motion passes. All right, Stewart?
All right, next is 3.121 with bonds, and his comment is just on the surety companies section. So it says, all required bonds shall be surety company bonds. His question was, should surety companies be licensed in Michigan? I'm assuming that's a yes. So I'm assuming he's probably, my assumption, and tell me if I'm wrong, is probably that all required bonds shall be
Surety company bonds as licensed in the state of Michigan.
licensed in the state of Michigan. Yes.
So are you making that motion, Stewart?
Yes.
Okay, can you read it again so everybody can have it?
All required bonds shall be surety company bonds licensed in the state of Michigan.
All right, it's moved by Stewart. Is there support?
Support.
All right, it's been moved and supported. Any discussion?
You want me to read it again, Sheila?
Yes.
Turpin.
Please read it again.
Yeah, okay. So we'll just read that one part, not changing anything else, is all required bonds shall be surety company bonds licensed in the state of Michigan.
It's been moved and supported. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call.
Commissioner Killian,
Yes.
Payne, Stewart,
Yes.
Turpin,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Burrows.
Yes.
6 yeas.
Okay. So next would be 3.201, functions and duties of the clerk. He just took out G, which was just the same language twice. So,
Is there a motion to strike G?
so moved. Support.
All right, it's been moved and supported. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call.
Strike it.
These moves and supports, right? Commissioner Payne, Stewart,
Yes.
Turpin,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Burrows,
Yes.
Killian.
Yes.
6 yeas.
The next would technically be 3.301 about the auditor, but we already struck that in other language, so we can ignore it.
Okay,
Move on.
let's keep going.
I'm just writing a note real quick. Struck G. Next would be under 4.101. And that would be about the mayor. The comment was again about election law and date of taking office and its conflict. I had added in a previous thing about the conflict. I think we need to have the attorney talk through this.
Okay.
Section.
So is there a motion to table?
Motion to table 4.101 until the attorney comes next week.
Is there support?
Support.
It's been moved by Stewart, supported by Burrows. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call.
Commissioner Stewart,
Yes.
Turpin,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Burrows,
Yes.
Killian,
Yes.
Payne.
Yes.
6 yeas.
Great. Next would be 4.104 with the relations with city council. We did do that, yeah. Okay, so then we're good there. Thank you. Moving on. 4.107, what he commented here was just that we say throughout the document, directors and department heads. We had intentionally changed it to department heads because I think there was concern around, like, right now, we don't even use technically director in many people's titles, but they would be the department head. So he's just saying we should be consistent regardless. He has multiple comments on this. My suggestion is that we make a decision right now to move forward with probably department heads and change all subsequent language throughout the charter to say department heads.
So make that motion.
My motion right now is, my motion is to change, my motion is to go forward with moving department heads in the charter in this section and all subsequent sections.
All right, it's been moved and seconded to change the word directors to department heads throughout the charter.
Seconded by Payne.
It was seconded, it was moved by Stewart, seconded by Payne. Is there any discussion?
Yeah.
Or clear, yep. Sorry.
So removing department heads and just calling them directors?
The opposite.
Opposite.
And so instead of calling people directors, call them department heads, because you may not be a director, but you may still be the head of that department, and you might not have that job title.
Gotcha.
Okay, as we all clear? Ms. Sheila, we good? All right, roll call.
Sure.
Commissioner Stewart,
Yes.
Turpin,
Was it Turpin you said? Yes. I thought you said Texan or something.
no, I said
sorry.
Turpin.
Yeah,
Williams,
Yes.
that was a long day.
Burrows,
Yes.
Killian,
Yes.
Payne.
Yes.
6 yeas.
Perfect.
All right, Stewart.
Next section was on boards and commissions, which we
Hold
did
on, did you
note.
want to
Go ahead,
add
I'm
the
sorry.
mayor's change to item number C on 4.107?
Oh, I think we already voted for that, did we? Yeah,
Did we? Okay.
so we're good. Thank you for writing.
Okay, all right. What's the next section, Stewart?
So next was boards and commissions. Now, again, noting that we already struck this, so I believe we're good there. Noting, his one comment, though, was serve at the pleasure of both, but what if, and so I think we changed that in the boards and commissions, so I think we're good.
Okay.
Next would be 4.305. And actually, we already talked about that too, so we're good. Next would be 4.307. Which I'm just reading again, hold on. It said 1 point. Let me see what I wrote.
All right. Is there a motion just to table this until the attorney comes in?
Yeah. So moved, or,
Okay, I'll take the move by Killian, the support from Payne. Just to table it until the attorney gets here. Any discussion? All right, roll Roll call.
Commissioner Turpin,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Burrows,
Yes.
Killian,
Yes.
Payne,
Yes.
Stewart.
Yes.
6 yeas.
All right, we're good on 4.401. We already kind of made the approvals on that, and it's noting the director. We're also good on 4.403, where he just makes a comment around director again. So we're gonna change that language. 4.501, I believe the challenges here were that he changed the parentheses, and that was solely because I don't think he knew when he made that comment and took that out, that we didn't have the fire department. Because he asked in 4.502, do you have a fire department? So I would suggest that we deny the changes in 4.501 because we did that intentionally.
Okay.
Motion, I move.
Is there support?
Support.
I motioned to deny the changes in 4.501.
So keep in the parentheses.
Discussion?
Go ahead, Dr. Turpin.
The way this is written, it leaves the option open for the city to have a fire department.
Correct.
Right.
And so are you saying you want to strike?
No, we're saying the lawyer wanted to strike it. We want to keep it in because we have a fire department. If you look at his next comments, he's saying, does the city have a fire department? So you wouldn't have fire protection services in parentheses if the city had a department. So you wouldn't need that language. But because we have an outsourced police department right now, outsourced fire department right now, it gives us flexibility to do both. Either have it contracted out or have the city have its own.
Okay.
I think the mayor agreed with that also.
Correct. And that goes into, well, then we can,
Yeah,
I call for the vote.
Yeah. Roll call?
Sorry, we already did a motion support, we're good.
Was that Stewart? Was that you, Stewart?
Who did support?
Who did support? Well,
Yeah,
we
I
had
didn't get
discussion.
that. That's why I'm asking.
I support it.
Oh, Turpin supported.
Yeah, he supported it.
I
didn't call
didn't,
for
but I
discussion.
am right now.
She just needed the support for the record.
Yeah, no, I get what Ms. Sheila needed. I'm just saying, yes. So, roll call, please. Thank you.
Yeah, that's what I asked too. Commissioner Williams,
Yes.
Burrows,
Yes.
Killian,
Yes.
Payne,
Yes.
Stewart.
Yes.
Turpin.
Yes.
6 yeas.
All right, moving right along. 5.102 is about mayoral budget and appropriation ordinance. What he is asking, not suggesting, is should there be stated time frame for the departments to get their budgets to the mayor? I don't think we should be that prescriptive. I think that's on the mayor to get his departments in order, so I think we already have the timelines for when the mayor needs to get his budgets to city council, and I think that's as prescriptive as we need to be. So I would just say, keep it as is. I motion to keep it as is.
Okay. Is there support? It's been moved by Stewart. It's been supported by Payne. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call?
Commissioner Burrows,
Yes.
Killian,
Yes.
Payne,
Yes.
Stewart,
Yes.
Turpin,
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
6 yeas.
Wonderful. Okay, next is 5.202, other revenue. His suggestion is just to change the word other taxation to additional taxation, which
Is there a move?
I move to change, as said.
Okay, it's been moved by Stewart, seconded by Payne. Any discussion?
Said additional?
Yeah, instead of other.
Instead of the word other. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call?
Commissioner Burrows,
Yes.
Killian,
Yes.
Payne,
Yes.
Stewart,
Yes.
Turpin,
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
6 yeas.
Wonderful. Okay, 5.204 is next, which is talking about liens. He just has one note around changing concurrence to accordance with law. I move. to change.
Support.
All right, so the motion is to change the word concordance to accordance.
Yeah.
It's been moved by Stewart, supported by Burrows. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call?
Commissioner Killian,
Yes.
Payne,
Yes.
Stewart,
Yes.
Turpin,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Burrows.
Yes.
6 yeas.
All right, next is 5.205 on tax limits. I suggest we table this, I move to table this until we get the attorney in next week.
Who seconded it?
Support.
Has been moved by Stewart. I'll take the second by Burrows. Any discussion on tabling? Seeing none, roll call?
Commissioner Killian,
Yes.
Payne,
Yes.
Stewart,
Yes.
Turpin,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Burrows.
Yes.
6 yeas.
Great. The next was 5.302 on payments, and he noted there may be potential due process issues around examining witnesses under oath, which I think is for the finance director, which I would note we probably should get rid of for sure, because we do have the integrity officer for things like that as well. But maybe we table this? Okay. I move to table 5.302 until the attorney comes in.
Is there support? Support. All right, it's been moved by Stewart, supported by Killian to table until the attorney comes. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call?
Commissioner Payne,
Yes.
Stewart,
Yes.
Turpin,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Burrows,
Yes.
Killian.
Yes.
6 yeas.
All right, moving on to 5.402, which was board of review. And what his note was, is that on it, we currently say the board of review shall review and equalize the assessment roll of the city on its own motion or on good cause shown. It may reduce or increase the valuation of any property found in the roll, yada, yada. What he's saying is, should it be on its own motion? Seems under due process, property owner needs to be aware of any action. I suggest we table this and move to table this to the attorney.
All right, is there support?
Second.
All right, it's been moved by Stewart, supported by Payne. Any discussion on tabling? Seeing none, roll call?
Commissioner Stewart,
Yes.
Turpin,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Burrows,
Yes.
Killian,
Yes.
Payne.
Yes.
6 yeas.
All right. Quick and easy change over here is 5.406. He's just suggesting that we change the section at the end to section 5.408, which is about due date. And so I move to change the language at the end to say section 5.408, as suggested.
All right, it's been moved by Stewart. Is there support? Support. It's been supported by Payne. Any discussion to change section 5.407 to the 5.408 due date? Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call?
Commissioner Stewart,
Yes.
Turpin,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Burrows,
Yes.
Killian,
Yes.
Payne. 6 yeas.
Great. 5.416 is the next, and it talks about applicable law. I'll read it, and then we can have a discussion. He notes are both sentences needed, and I'm not sure. But it says, "The general law shall govern the assessing, levying, collection, and return of taxes, except as otherwise provided by this charter." Sentence 2 says, "The assessment, levy, collection, and return of taxes shall be governed consistent with this charter and law." So, makes sense.
I think we should just leave it. I mean, I can see why he would change it, but I don't see how it hurts.
Okay.
It's just my
What are you
preference,
saying?
but I don't feel strongly about it either way. If there's the pleasure of the body, I mean, I'm neutral on it.
Any other discussion?
I move that we let the next charter commission review, change it if they want to.
All right,
Leave it
so
as
keep
it
it as is.
Okay, There's a motion by Turpin to keep as is. Is there a second? Second by Killian. All right, any discussion on that? Seeing none, roll call?
Commissioner Turpin,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Burrows,
Yes.
Killian,
Yes.
Payne, Stewart.
Yes.
6 yeas.
All right, wonderful. Next is 5.601, power granted under Chapter 6 Special Assessments. And he asked, do you want in charter? Could be by ordinance. Let me read it. The city may provide for the payment of all or any part of the cost of construction, reconstruction, repair, operating, or maintenance of any public structure or improvement by levying and collecting special assessments upon properties specially benefited.
Okay, it's been a motion to table by Killian. Is there a second?
The mayor will be reviewing this section as well.
Is there a second? Killian has a motion.
Second.
Okay, I'll take the second from, Payne. Any discussion on tabling? Seeing none, roll call?
Commissioner Williams,
Yes.
Burrows,
Yes.
Killian,
Yes.
Payne, Stewart,
Yes.
Turpin. 6 yeas.
Good news, we already did affirmative action and residency, so we don't need to do 6.101 and 103. I did those at the last meeting. 6.104 is the next one, and that talks about the local officers compensation committee. He said, is this section needed? Need ordinance under MCO? I think we should wait until the attorney comes for this one.
Okay. Is
So
there a motion to
table. Table.
Okay, it's been moved by Stewart. Is there a second? Okay, but seconded by Payne to table. Any discussion on tabling? Seeing none, roll call?
Commissioner Burrows,
Yes.
Killian,
Yes.
Payne, Stewart,
Yes.
Turpin. Williams.
Yes.
6 yeas. I'm running out of my sheets.
Wonderful. 6.105, vacancy is what he had an issue with.
If Ms. Sheila has run out of sheets, then.
No,
Well, you
Damn.
good? Are you good? You got some more? Okay, all right.
Secret stash.
All right, 6.105, Stewart.
This one he noted, what about absences in terms of vacancies and appointments? Either, good suggestion.
So do you have some
don't.
suggestion language?
I don't.
All right, so we'll move the table and see what the attorney says, I guess. Is there a motion to table this until the attorney shows up?
Motion.
Second.
All right, it's been moved by Killian, supported by Stewart. Any discussion on tabling? Seeing none, roll call.
Commissioner Burrows,
Yes.
Killian,
Yes.
Payne, Stewart,
Yes.
Turpin, Williams.
Yes.
6 yeas.
All right, 6.107, lots of comments on conflict of interest. I think I moved table until the attorney provides background. There's a lot of legal lees here.
Okay, is there support to table? All right, it's been moved and supported to table, moved by Stewart, supported by Killian. Any discussion on tabling? Seeing none, roll call?
Commissioner Killian,
Yes.
Payne, Stewart,
Yes.
Turpin, Williams,
Yes.
Burrows.
Yes.
6 yeas.
All right, next is on 6.108, retirement plans. It says, what does ordinance status mean? And I'll just read the sentence. The existing governing bodies for administering those plans, the benefit schedules for those plans, and the terms for accruing rights to and receiving benefits under those plans shall have ordinance status under this charter. Do you know what that may mean? Does anyone know what that may mean?
No, I think we should table that till the mayor comes back with it, because I just don't know what the changes they made in, to the retirement. We tabled that whole section.
Oh, the whole section? Okay.
Is there a motion to table 6.108?
Yes, so moved.
All right, is there support? Support. All right, it's been moved by Stewart, supported by Payne. Any discussion on tabling? Yes, go ahead, Dr. Turpin.
We tabled out, yeah, we tabled.
The whole section.
Yep.
Okay, roll call on tabling 6.108.
Oh, Lord. Commissioner Killian,
Yes.
Payne,
Yes.
Stewart,
Yes.
Turpin, Williams,
Yes.
Burrows,
Yes.
6 yeas.
Okay. Is there a motion to table item 6.109 until the attorney gets here?
Yes, so moved.
All right, it's been moved by Stewart. Is there support?
Support.
Support by Killian. Any discussion on tabling 6.109? Seeing none, roll call?
Commissioner Payne, Stewart,
Yes.
Turpin, Williams,
Yes.
Burrows,
Yes.
Killian,
Yes.
6 yeas.
All right, I'm gonna say that we stop here for today. We were not rolling, we were just tabling. So,
Well, we keep tabling. We got 15.
so,
15 more minutes.
yeah, exactly. So we got closing comments and then adjournment, so. So we're gonna start with Burrows, closing comments.
I don't have any.
All right, Payne.
I really appreciate the mayor's input. I think that's gonna help us to get this charter passed. And I think that we didn't start out with the mayor and city council when we did it at the beginning, but that's passed. So thank everyone for being here.
Dr. Turpin.
Good night.
All right, Commissioner Stewart.
Aye.
Commissioner Killian is not here. No comment from me. I will adjourn this meeting at 8:46.
Hello.